Ryan Glover. This is a tour of DC at night. Look at this. Seems to be a young man in this statue. Because no man is really a man who is lost out of himself all of the boy. I want to speak first of the dreams of a barefoot boy. Frequently, they are to be of a streetcar conductor, or he sees himself as the town policeman. Above all, he may reach to a position of locomotive engineer. But always in his dreams is that day when he finally comes home to a welcome from his own hometown. Because today, that dream of mine of 45 years or more ago has been realized beyond the wildest stretches of my own imagination. I come here first to thank you, to say the proudest thing I can claim is that I am from Abilene. Homecoming speech, Abilene, Kansas, June 22nd, 1945. Yeah, I mean, I think those words, definitely resonate. To go home and, actually make something of yourself, it has to be, a wonderful feeling. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Supreme Commander, Allied Expeditionary Force. They got it. Look at that. Yeah. Ambulances in the background. DC is a beautiful city. Just out for a stroll this evening. I don't know how safe the city is, but most dangerous thing out here. So Dwight D. Eisenhower. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. It was his D-Day address to troops, June 6, 1944. Jeez. Now, those are some statues. Those are life-size statues, more so, because they're larger than me. I think, in Philly, they complained about the Allen Iverson statue because it's like a miniature statue. But this is a real statue. This definitely. Obviously, I mean, AI don't have no rings. So does he really deserve, a big statue? I don't know. We look upon this shaken earth and we declare our firm and fixed purpose, the building of peace with justice in a world where moral law prevails. His second inaugural address, January 21st, 1957. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm enjoying it. Beautiful to walk through the city at night. And I think, just now, the importance of living in a free country. I think a lot of times people take the idea of freedom for granted, and the many men and women who have died and sacrificed their lives so that we can have a free nation. But I feel like democracy is under attack. Former President Donald Trump, he was almost assassinated. I mean, I think the MAGA movement is horrible. That a lot of these people continue to spew rhetoric that is hateful. But on the other side, liberals kind of dismiss the importance of black people. It's always other groups that are always taking priority, whether it's the LGBTQ community, whether it's immigrants, as we see in Chicago. It just seems that they're not prioritizing the people who are actually from this country and making it difficult. It's like, it's probably like, more difficult than any other time to find a job, more difficult, like, than any other time, like, to be able to get ahead because of, like, inflation. The cost of things are, like, so high and have risen so much. Hasn't kept up with wages. Like, how can people afford to really buy a home? Then, like, with taxes, I think, like, that we just live in, like, such a corrupt generation too, where a lot of people are, like, scamming and stealing and taking from, like, hardworking Americans. And we're overtaxed. I think, like, also, like, it's like they scam people, like, where the cost of college now, like, it doesn't mean anything, and people have racked up college student loans. And, like, then they tell you, like, a degree doesn't really mean anything. Like, welcome to Walmart. You want fries with that? I don't know. But, like, they don't want to hire you for those jobs either, because it's like I think it's a requirement you speak Spanish. It's pretty much, man, like, how soon before this country becomes something like, we can't recognize, where it's like, so many homeless people on the streets because people, like, can't afford, like, to be able to buy a home, or to, like, just do, like, things that we saw, like, baby boomers do, like that generation. They ruin it for Generation X, millennials. I think it's a possibility. So this is the Smithsonian Museum of American Indian. And, I think it's really interesting. The Washington Redskins actually want to change the name of the Washington Redskins back from, like, the Washington Commanders, the family, like, of who was on the original logo. I mean, I think, like, sometimes in stuff, everything that shows, like, how we went really far, like, with this political correctness thing, and kind of, like, erasing, like, our history, our culture in America, for the sake of making everybody feel good. It used to be a time, like, I think, like, where people could say, like, what they wanted, and there wouldn't be backlash. But now, because of social media, I think, like, a lot of people are afraid to say, like, what's on their mind sometimes, because they've got this whole pronoun thing, which I think, like, at times can be confusing. They've got, a bunch of different issues and stuff that I feel like, that when I was growing up, it was like the world just seemed to, like, so much more simple, and it's gotten, like, a lot more complicated. I understand the importance of respect. I understand, like, everybody deserves to be treated with respect. Social media is like a monster. It's kind of like, destroying the world. But here we are. Yeah. I haven't been to the Smithsonian since I was, like, a little kid, to be honest. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. National Museum of the American Indian. Oh, look at that. Capitol building in the background. That's my tour.